So you're new to running Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and you want to test the waters and not sure where to start. I get it. It can be a little bit more than overwhelming with the sheer volume of options available. It may be difficult to know where to start. I kind of want to help with that, maybe giving you some suggestions you haven't heard before, but might give you a good idea of where to begin. Hey everyone, my name is Obscura and welcome to Obscura Advice, where I just want to help people run the games for this hobby that we all love so much. Today I will be covering start advice for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but I do want to cover other systems in the future. But we'll see how we go. This is kind of an experiment, so if you like this, please like, comment, subscribe, all that other fun stuff. We're well aware what to do at this point. Now I will say before we get into my suggestions that up front I will suggest Menace Under Atari, aka the Beginner's Box. It was designed with new players, GM and player alike, and is an absolutely fantastic introduction to the system and its mechanics. I'm not going to spend too much time on it though, because let's be honest, others have truly covered it. But this is an interesting place to start, because a lot of people will tell you, hey, you finished the Beginner's Box, you should do the Abomination Vaults. Well, I'm here to tell you as someone who ran it, that it might not actually be the best idea for your group. For those who aren't aware, Abomination Vaults is Paizo's first mega dungeon for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And although it's a great adventure path, it's not without its issues. When you're coming from a different system, whatever system that may be, it can definitely feel very much like getting dropped into the deep end and told to swim. With the way it's designed, it is quite easy for players to find themselves taking the wrong turn into an encounter that could potentially wipe the party. For veterans of the system, this is part of the fun of it, the unexpected danger around every corner. But if you're still learning the system on both sides of the screen, it can definitely feel a bit much. What's the other option then? Well, there are a couple. And for my part, I have two big suggestions. The first is if you have finished the beginner box, there is an adventure that leads on directly from it and was designed for this, called Troubles Around Atari. This wonderful adventure takes place around the countryside surrounding Atari and furthers the plot established in the beginner's box. I've run it myself, and it's a great adventure that works exceptionally well as a springboard for an entire campaign just around Atari itself, or even just establishing the legends of the heroes of your game. Also, it finishes around level 4 to 5. This means that if you want to jump to another pre-made adventure path, you'll, for the most part, be able to jump in at the second book and be good to go with a bit of narrative flexing. The other option, and this is if you don't have the beginner's box, or hell, if you want to start with a couple of one-shots first, is the Pathfinder Society scenarios. Now, much like Adventurers League, Paizo has their own organized play called Pathfinder Society. Although I do recommend asking around to see if you can find a local chapter, we're not really here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the scenarios themselves. Coming in at about $8.99 USD each, these are scenarios designed to be run in one session, around 4 hours, with many of them starting at level 4, but also accommodating levels after that, usually in like a 4-level bracket, so the first level ones will usually go from level 1 to 4. Now, the narrative conceit of these scenarios being that the players work for the titular Pathfinder Society. This means that as the GM, you don't have to struggle with getting the heroes together, or using some sort of narrative hook to get them all in the same place. They've been hired by the Society to do a thing, and that makes it easier on you as the GM. Now, speaking from experience, although the scenarios are designed to be one-shots, it is pretty easy, if you wanted to simply extend them out. One scenario taking several sessions to finish between combats, role-playing, and whatever you as the GM may want to add. Also, many of the first level scenarios also act as introductions to the world of Golarion, introducing lore and plot points that you as the GM can use, and the players can engage with in locations not usually covered in the currently published adventure paths. My own personal recommendation is Escaping the Grave, a first level scenario from the first season of the 2nd edition PFS. This is a fantastic little scenario that covers combat, role-playing, skill challenges, and working against the clock as the players strive to recover lost artifacts from a town overrun by the undead. This particular scenario also introduces some of the lore involving the Lich known as the Whispering Tyrant, and what he has done to the surrounding area in the wake of his escape from his long imprisonment. It's a lot of fun, and it is always a blast whenever I run it. I also highly recommend Foundation's Price, a 2-part adventure and concluding with Fury's Toll that follows the events surrounding a newly established Pathfinder Lodge in the city of Sadiq, and it struggles with the practice of genie binding. Also, a lot of fun, and could easily be an adventure path in its own right. Now, all that said, ultimately it's up to you as the GM, and for your players. Ask your players what they might find interesting. You'd be surprised what's available and out there. Do what works for your table. No matter what decision you come to, know that this is a great system and is worth a shot. Just don't put too much pressure on yourself. And make sure everyone has reasonable expectations, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. Anyway, I've talked long enough. I hope you have a good day, a good night, a good week, no matter where you are in the world. And as always, remember, we are the storytellers. Goodbye.